There's nothing left to say right now about that.
Are you feeling it as well? Because I have to know, are you loving Suki this season as much as me? Something's changed. Either it's Suki herself finally hearing the audience, there's a palpable shift, and I'm all for it. Gone is the timid Suki we've come to know, particularly when walking on eggshells around Kody. This time, she's marching in with elegance and toughness, firm but kind, straightforward but collected. It's not that cringe-worthy awkwardness we received during the Tamron Hall interviews. This is different. And honestly, it's a breath of fresh air. But first, don't blink, because we're dissecting Season 19, Episode 27 of Sister Wives, the dramatic second half of the one-on-ones. And while these shows are always difficult to recap, so many complicated conversations, so many underlying emotions, I'm here to bring attention to what really caught my eye. If I get something wrong, you know what to do. Leave it in the comments below. Now, let's begin. Right from the start, it became apparent. Suki dominated, but this was not just the Suki show. Each and every individual, Kody, Janelle, Christine, Robyn, they all got their turn. And some of those turns, they're going to be ringing throughout this fandom for years. We didn't receive shocking secrets, not this time, but what we received was validation, and sometimes that's even stronger. The first part focused in on Kody's failing relationships. Janelle, Christine, and Robyn all looked back and wondered where things had gone wrong, and one quote from Christine cut straight to the heart of the issue. In the religious world, if 3 of your wives leave you, it's a problem with the man. There it is, the truth no one could deny. The failure wasn't shared. It was Kody, and honestly, that one statement summed up everything we've been watching unfold over the years. Let's take it one step further. What if Kody's greatest failure wasn't as a husband, but as a father? Consider this. If he'd been a good, involved dad, would Janelle and Christine have remained, even in unloving marriages? Possibly. But he couldn't even appear for his children. That, more than anything else, was the tipping point. That's why they left. Not because of unrequited romance, but because he failed as a parent. Then came that moment. You know, the one, when Suki mentioned Janelle referring to Robyn as the sacred cow. Robyn's response? Oh, it was multi-layered. At first, it was attitude, a brush-off. But imagine you're in her position. The youngest wife, the most attention, the biggest house, the most recent children. Now suddenly everyone is pointing fingers at her. Would you want to deal with that on national TV? So, what does Robyn do? Did I like being called a sacred cow? Moo, I don't care. It was oddly perfect, a little snarky, a little humorous, and perhaps, just perhaps, her highlight of the whole episode. And you know what? That smile seemed genuine, even if only for an instant. I had to keep reminding myself while watching this. Years have gone by. Maybe they've truly moved on. Kody's checked out. Janelle doesn't even want to be best friends anymore. Christine's doing great. Robyn? She claims to be over being the scapegoat. Perhaps, finally, they don't care. Not really. Perhaps they're just tired of going over it. Robyn had more to say. She confessed she's exhausted from being pulled into everyone else's story. She wants the other wives to mind their own business and leave her alone. And here's the irony. For someone who says she doesn't want the attention, she ends up in the middle of the storm every time. So that's where we're left. Unresolved tension, unanswered questions, and Suki finally finding her voice. We might not have received bombshells this time, but what we did receive was clarity, real talk, and a reminder of why this show still holds hostage season after season. Because when it comes to sister wives, the truth eventually always comes out. So fasten your seatbelts, because the next episode could be the one where everything comes untethered. Let's discuss the first major moment. Christine's quote that left me stunned. In the religious world, if 3 of your wives leave you, it's a problem with the man. Boom, that is it. That is the entire series, encapsulated in one unvarnished truth. And everything, every scene, every meltdown, every cringy group meeting made sense. Kody wasn't simply one piece of the problem, he was the problem, but Christine's words swung open another door. This wasn't simply about failing as a husband. If Kody had been an amazing dad, would Janelle and Christine have tolerated the emotional distance? Maybe, but he wasn't. And seeing that go down, it wasn't just sad, it was maddening. You could see the anguish on their faces. Wives who might have held on, if not for the stomach-churning way he failed their kids. Then Suki raised the stakes. She mentioned the sacred cow remark, something that Janelle said to Robyn. And Robyn's reply? At first, I had thought she was being cavalier. Then I sat on it. Robyn has always been in the middle. Youngest wife, last to give birth, biggest house, most attention. And now that spotlight has been transformed into a microscope. Of course she is defensive. But in that brief moment, beneath the sarcasm, was perhaps one of her most human responses. And get this, Robyn says she's tired of being the scapegoat. She wishes the others would stop bringing her up. Think about this. Imagine you're married to someone who gives you nothing. No love, no warmth, no parenting support. Then that same person drives away, spends hours with someone else, and gives them everything. How do you never refer to that person by name? How do you never tell him, I know you can be better because you're better with her? The comparison is the proof of how overlooked you are. You're not only unloved, you're being actively compared. That is not jealousy. That is a wound that never closes. Then there's one of the most intriguing turns. Suki and Janelle discuss a hypothesis. Did Kody go villain to deflect attention from Robyn? Janelle admits she's never seen him this cruel, this unrecognizable, not even remotely. And perhaps, it wasn't all COVID stress. Perhaps Kody cranked up the rage so everyone would focus on him and not Robyn. That theory bites. I want to go back and re-watch season 1, then leap forward to season 16. It's like night and day. Along the way in that development, the guy we saw at the beginning just got me, and what came out was a nasty, unpredictable, and nasty piece of work. You know, when discussing his first wives and his kids. Was it COVID, or was it a strategy? Possibly both. Janelle doesn't believe Robyn got into the family with the intention to wreck it. Robyn sought a genuine plural marriage, to be a sister wife in good faith, she believes. But, and this is important, Janelle asserts Robyn wasn't innocent either. She had a part to play. And Kody, he had his even larger. Suki calls Kody on that weird restaurant moment with Janelle, the one where he suddenly cuts off any discussion of their relationship. He insists that she kept referencing Robyn, but the surprise is, Suki doesn't let him squirm out of it. She calls him on it, and what does he do? He tries to shut her down, too. Kody, I want to shut you down now. Suki, you can't shut me down. Kody, yeah, I can. Suki, no, you can't. You can behave like a baby, but we are adults discussing something. Mic drop. The moment of the episode was that instant. Suki didn't bat an eye. She didn't let Kody stonewall or spin. She called it exactly what it was, and the internet went wild. For once, someone refused to let Kody avoid responsibility. And it was beautiful. This episode didn't deliver a dramatic twist. It didn't shock us with new information. But it did something arguably more important. It gave us clarity. It confirmed the things we've long suspected and added real human weight to the emotional wreckage. Suki is not a passive moderator anymore. She's a force. And as the wives keep speaking their truths, one thing is certain. The disintegration of this family was not enigmatic. It was gradual, public, and catastrophic. Now, though, the curtain is opening, and what's behind it is raw, unfinished, and very, very real. Hang in there, because if this is only part two, next week could blow everything wide open. And here we are, another individual interview with Kody, and this time he sounds like he's attempting to say what he should be saying. You can see that he is frustrated, perhaps even lost. He's seen everyone else get on with their lives, and now he's attempting to redefine his story, like he's done dealing with, too. He states, I'm not going to sit here and continue talking about how they did me wrong. I was at fault, too. And I literally sat there when I heard that because I was thinking, wait, is this it? Is he finally going to take some actual responsibility? And for a second, it looked like he might. He says, I was at fault too. I just didn't see a future. I wasn't happy. Okay, break. He's near. But add the word to and it's dead. That one word still bears some of the responsibility. It states, I failed, but so did they. What if, for just one time, he would say, I failed? No qualification, no blame sharing, just honesty. Because here's the thing, if he'd said this years ago, truly said it, honestly and irrevocably, this whole breakup might have taken a different look. The pain would still be there, sure, but the certainty, the resolution, the potential for the wives to walk away and not have to constantly relitigate every perceived slight in front of an entire nation, that would have been possible. And more than that, Robyn might have been spared years of pointing fingers if Kody'd simply said, I'm the one who doesn't want to be with them. It's not Robyn. She didn't ask for anything. I made this decision. He never did that. And now everything's falling apart because of his silence. So when Kody says, it's time to move on, and tacks on, I would love to have it back. I sat there like, back? What do you mean back? Did you ever really have accountability? Because this moment right here, might be the closest we've ever seen you come to owning your role. And yet, even still, it's halfway. Then comes Janelle. And in what some people watching perceived as a bombshell, she bluntly states, I don't like Kody and Robyn. And I'll be honest, I didn't think it was a big deal. That's her ex and his new wife. Naturally, she doesn't want to be best friends. Naturally, she doesn't want to hang out. And it doesn't imply anything terrible happened at Garrison's funeral or that a dark family secret is being kept. It just means the relationship ended. She doesn't like them in a friend sense anymore. That's not weird. That's human. Some of the online fans are suggesting something must have happened backstage to get Janelle to say that on television. But really, I don't believe it. This is a grown woman stating, I'm not going to pretend. We don't have a friendship. We have shared children, and I will be polite, but that's where it stops. Do you want to invite Kody and Robyn over after what we've observed? Didn't think so. And while everyone keeps tossing around the word healing like it's some magical group therapy waiting to happen, I'm calling it now. They don't need to heal together. They need to heal apart, privately, independently. This was Janelle's I don't care moment, just like we heard Kody yell, I don't care, just like Christine turned away and never looked back. These women are moving forward. The burden is off their backs now. And then finally, we see Meri. For the first time this episode, she sits down with Suki. And this takes us into a flashback about moving day, a scene that says more about grief, isolation, and identity than almost anything else this season. But that's the next layer we'll unpack. Let's discuss that episode, Moving Day. The one where Kody assists Meri with packing, and all of a sudden he's smiling, laughing, flirting. He calls her my favorite ex-wife, and it's like he's acting. like he's attempting to write a new page in a book she's already torched. And I recall just thinking, why was he there? Other people could have assisted Meri in moving. A sibling, a friend, literally one of us sitting at home. Anyone but Kody, because his presence, it was baffling, it was deceptive, and it was cruel in its own strange manner. That warm smile, that charm, all of it was noise, noise that Meri no longer had to subject herself to. And here's the thing that struck me most. Meri didn't believe any of it. When he said she was his favorite ex-wife, she laughed it off. She didn't hold on to it. She didn't confuse it with affection. She recognized it for what it was, a weak gesture of comfort or perhaps manipulation, but not sincerity. And then Christine? She reacted differently. She heard him say that, and she called him on it right away. Why must he necessarily have a favorite? Why must it necessarily be a ranking? You could sense the difference in them. Meri is above it. Christine still hurts, and both responses are legitimate, but they tell you precisely where each woman is in her progress. Then there is Kody sobbing at the close of moving day. And Meri? She deflects it back to him like a pro. If you're mourning this relationship, that's on you. You work that out. No more games. No more mixed signals. Meri's finally mastered closing a door, and she isn't opening it again. Even when Robyn arrives bearing that weird little garbage journal, Meri is nice and polite, hugs her, and continues on her merry way. She's done auditioning for this family, and honestly, good for Meri. And just when you think that this episode has reached its peak of weirdness, Kody admits to having a dirty thought. His words, not mine. I had a dirty thought. I thought David and I should go on a guy's trip together. I rewound. A dirty thought? Why does it have to be phrased like that? And then he goes on, but that would be so uncool to Christine. Christine? Okay, but let's discuss the kids. These are the same kids who invited Kody and Robyn to come fishing in Wyoming. A peaceful, healing moment, and they didn't show up. They couldn't even go fishing, but Cody's fantasizing about taking Christine's new husband on a guy's trip? Number just. No. And by the way, Kody avoids watching the clip of their first meeting, and Suki tells him straight, "You're gonna watch it." It's times like those that you find yourself thinking, Kody still needs to control the story, even at this point. He's attempting to shift his image, but he can't even look back at the reality he built. And one more thing, these one-on-ones continually come back to this notion that they must heal together, that perhaps they could take vacations together or work through it as a family. Double dates, family trips, healing circles. I have no idea who is constantly pitching this. Perhaps TLC, perhaps Suki, perhaps Kody. But let's be extremely clear, they don't necessarily need to heal together. That ship has sailed. It's not kumbaya brunches and therapy retreats. It's about individuals continuing in their own directions. The only relationship that needs fixing? Kody and Robyn. That's it. Everyone else has already done the work, or is doing it now. And the best thing they can do for themselves is to stop trying to untangle the wreckage of the past together. Just walk away. Christine's clarity, David's calm, and the future of this family. What's next? We're finally at the tail end of this season, and what a long, messy, necessary journey it's been. But we're not done yet, because next we're talking about how Christine and David handled it all, and what it tells us about who's really thriving in the aftermath. Otherwise, David has Christine. Meri's out there starting anew. Janelle, too, all of them in their own directions. If they do have to heal, fine, but they can heal without us. In fact, I think their dynamic might even be healthier without necessarily creating those cringeworthy group moments. They don't need to make any extra effort to spend time with each other. Not for the cameras, not for anyone. They're moving forward, and that's okay. There's also this lingering notion of how they're supposed to work on these relationships as a group, but I don't buy it either. As a viewer, I'm fully prepared to see them be who they are post Kody Brown. And yay, I seriously wasn't here for all of the drama about double dates. Christine and David, Kody and Robyn? No, thank you. Who wants to have to watch that dinner? And by those two, I mean Kody and Robyn. Well, that's my rundown for this episode. I'd love to get your thoughts, so leave your thoughts, questions, or hot takes down in the comments below. Let's talk.